Hello, everyone, and welcome again to the Science Chat Show. Today we have with us Dr. Murthy Gudipati. Thank you, sir, for accepting my invitation and taking time out from your busy schedule and talking to us. I have this ritual that I've started on the show where instead of me sort of giving a monologue about the guests, I like them to talk to the audience, connect, and make them friends with themselves. I'll tell people that Dr. Murthy is a principal scientist at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, in NASA. And now he's going to tell us about his childhood, the parts of the world that he has grown up, the kind of educational background he had till the first professional degree, and the kind of family background he comes from. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Navjot. It's wonderful. The reason why I'm doing this is to give, especially the younger generation, a reflection into something that they always think that they're going through a lot of force. They're breaking into the system, and people like us who went through that, sometimes it's good to know about it, that you're not alone in going through this, in the world. I think everyone essentially goes through it.
Yeah.
And so, the other thing is experience of the other people may be useful, but most of the times, it's like you should take the advice or the analysis of other people as only a one of the several options you have in front of you, and take on your own decision. This is very important. There is a tendency to follow blindly those who say something and it's okay. He or she is well reputed, and whatever they say, do it. That kind of blind following is not good. So my goal is not to have any followers, but to provoke people, especially younger generation, to think on their own. You need to think on their own. Okay, so that's what you want, bring on to people is let us take our actions, our own responsibility, and our own thinking process. Having said that, okay, now let's go back to what you asked me about my childhood and all those things. I keep posting it on Facebook for the same reason that it is useful. I was born in a very small, let's say, village in Andhra Pradesh, which is now split into two states, Telangana and Andhra. But it was in the coastal Andhra Pradesh where my parents and grandparents come from. My mother was very young when she, got me. She got married at the age of 18, and I was born. She was 19. So I was a child, and so as you go back into the history, not very far away, a century ago, there were things that were happening that fortunately are not happening today. Today, in most of the civilized places, women are given a choice to go to education and choose when they want to get married, if they want to get married, and have children when they want to have children, rather than they're forced to have children. I'm really thankful that we made a lot of progress in this regard. But in those days, that was it. So from that, at the age of 18, at the age of 19, I was born in a small village, and my early childhood was very much in villages. That was actually a very good thing for me because I started, liking nature, because whatever you do as a child, that becomes really a part of your life throughout your life. So I used to climb trees, palm trees, coconut trees, and go fruit trees, and sitafalls, and what would you call, and have the raw fruits, for your let's say lunch or snack or whatever it is. That was my
Yeah.
snacks. Yeah, yeah. And there were snakes and all that stuff as usual all the time. Okay,
Okay.
that was my childhood, but it very soon turned into tough times. My father died when I was 11. He had some long-lasting illness. So the family was totally, in trouble and stress. That was a time when I started becoming an adult because at the age of 11, I had the responsibility, unfortunately, again, in the patriarchal system that we are living in most of the places on earth, the son or the boy becomes, responsible for taking care of the family. So, but I was not taking care. My mother was taking care, but I was still, sort of held responsible for certain things. So you suddenly become an adult. But it's also in those times then I started thinking a lot about nature. I used to sleep in the fields. We used to grow peanuts and rice. So I used to sleep in the fields, and then you see all sky studded with stars, and so that was a fascination. But at that time you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Except that, oh, there is a sky, there are stars, we don't know what the stars are. Someone told that there are stars, and then you say there are stars. Anyway, but that is also the time my sort of, interest or passion to study or to understand, to know has become more and more intense. I used to walk about 4.5 miles one way to go to school, and that gave me a lot of time to contemplate, to think about, to imagine, to dream. So that, tough times are there, but there are also positive sides of tough times. That's what you have to keep in mind. Anyway, that was the beginning of my really thinking that I want to understand nature, I want to study. And when I started really, pushing in that direction. Of course, the family wanted me to get some education and then get a job and take care of the family, that kind of things. At one point, so got school education and among all the other things that you go through. And I was focusing on my, whatever I learn, I wanted to learn it fully. So I went to public schools, I went to public colleges, that means, government colleges. When we say public, they are government colleges, no or very little fee. But we had fantastic facilities there and excellent teachers. And the reason why I got even more interested or intensified my interest in science is because of our teachers, the science teachers we had at a government college in Jakarta were outstanding teachers. And so, the interest in science has started, to grow from the seed level to a plant level. And I had a lot of, as I said, I was fortunate to, have those facilities. And at home, there was encouragement. Unfortunately, there was also a biased, let's say, priority given to the boy compared to my three sisters, younger sisters. Girls, this Indian society, in those days and even today, has still that, dichotomy of boy being very important than girls. I tried to minimize that kind of effect on my sisters as well as anyone whom I came in contact with. So I enjoyed some privileges, but I also enjoyed some responsibilities. It was the bachelor's of science that I completed in Vijayawada. That was a period of transition for me, because once you get undergraduate education, you are expected to go and take job. I was not interested in bank jobs or some other skill jobs. I wanted to study, but I needed to support the family and all those things. So we were having some kind of the priority crisis at the time. But then I used to go to a local library every day, and in fact, a college had a UGC library as well, University Commission Library, and those are fantastic resources. So I saw one day in the local public library an advertisement from a small advertisement from University of Hyderabad, saying that we are conducting interviews for admissions to masters, and they said we will also pay you the travel expenses. So I said, okay, I'm going there.
I'm coming. I'm on the bus.
Train, yeah.
Train, okay.
Yeah, my first ever trip to Hyderabad. So I went there, and I was totally shocked because I was a small town boy going to a mega city. I totally shocked. People were, coming in cars and all kinds of vehicles. So anyway, that the turning point was out of 400 or something like that students who gave written and oral interview. From the written interview, they selected from 425 students, and Gordon Mehta was there. He was fantastic in those days. Very, 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 very nice, gentleman and also a scientist. In the evening, they put the list there. I told myself, come on, I have no chances, but I was totally shocked to see my name there. And that was really very, very exciting time. And so, and the next day was oral interview, and after that, you're asked to go home, and you will be informed. Out of those 15 were selected for masters, and I got a telegram saying that you're selected, come and join. And I think I bumped my head against the door on that day with excitement. Yeah, that's what happens. The moral of the story for me, at least, is that we should not, think any small thing is not important, and we should pursue it until we have a decision made. It could be a failure, or it could be something else, but every small thing leads to something that is critical to our life. So having gotten the admission into University of Hyderabad, in those days, Central University was one of the top universities. The second problem came: how do I finance it?
Yeah.
So I think you saw my probably post on that. So I went around almost to every bank in Andhra, took this telegram, not Andhra, in Vijayawada, took this telegram and said, I got admission, but I need some, student loans. And only after 2 or 3 days of exhaustive bicycling there, in those days only commute you have was bicycle. And I think Indian Overseas Bank said, yes, we'll give you. Interestingly, the person who gave me that time was also an MSc in chemistry from another university. So he was also happy that I was going to do MSc in chemistry. Anyway, so that's what led to the University of Hyderabad. That is a very important change in my life. Until then was going to University of Hyderabad, which is a central university, which had faculty or has still faculty who are outstanding and exposed to international, science and teaching. Having the privilege of studying there um, changed my life. Okay, I will stop it here now.
No, I'm glad actually how you're also trying to drop these hints of social messages along with sharing your story, because I think it's important for the young generation especially to see how people, go through their lives and the lessons that they learn during their journeys and also when they reflect on their journeys later. So while you did your masters and you were in this academic atmosphere that you were experiencing for the first time in your life, what was it that sort of motivated you to go on to do a PhD at IISc Bangalore? Was it a particular incident or you got excited about a particular field?
Okay, at the University of Hyderabad, we 14, or I think out of 15, 1% dropped. 14 of us, we really held together. I think there were 4 girls and rest of them were boys. We held together. We studied almost together. It was an excellent friendly atmosphere, but also the faculty. I think we were like 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 faculty to students. I used to compare that to Caltech once in a while because Caltech student to faculty ratio is also like that. So that there we led the fundamentals. It was really excellent, and that was the first time I also started understanding a little bit more about quantum mechanics. Then I did my MSc. You have on the last year some kind of research project. Yeah. With Jemis. Jemis is he was a fresh faculty from returned from Cornell, and I think many people know Jemis, and he's we are still good friends, and he was my first mentor. Whenever I go to IISc, I go and see him and his wife. I forgot her name right now, but yeah, wonderful. Last time when I went there, we all went to the to that cafe house and had breakfast there. So Jemis introduced me into quantum mechanics, and that was really interesting because after that. Once I was going back to Vijayawada for vacation holidays, and then when I was going through, I got down the train and I was walking out. I realized that all of us are made of these atoms, and that was the first time that there was so much of connectivity between everything. For example, the train tracks are made of iron, bogies are made of iron or something like that, or wood, and everything is, we are made of carbon and, on all things. So atomic structure, molecular structure, these are all, metallic structures. These are all became a sort of, and you can call it as enlightenment, but this was the first time when I realized that there is connectivity with everything that is around us.
Was that your Eureka moment then?
Yes.
Was that?
Yeah, it was. It was a moment of, let's say, you could, as I said, you can call it as enlightenment or aha. Okay. Yeah. It's so beautiful, right? It's so beautiful. Until then, you didn't know what is what, and now you see that there is connectivity everywhere. And that can be explained, through science and because science is our language. Science is our language to understand nature, and that language, once you understand the vocabulary, then you start interacting with nature, and that's the time when I said, yes, I'm in the right direction. Yeah, that is a motivating part of it. That is the one, and then early childhood, looking at the sky. These are all some things that align my passion for science. But going to Indian Institute of Science and starting working there was not I didn't have anything in my mind at the time what I want to do, but I was certain that I wanted to do science. I wanted to do research. I wanted to understand what is that is around us, okay, and within us. Okay, that's what was my goal. I was not obsessed by one or other fields of science. I wanted to go at the time, to Jimmy said that he could write a letter of recommendation to his his postdoctoral mentor Roald Hoffman, but at that time my mom said, "No, you cannot go. We need you here." So you can go anywhere in India, but you don't want to go. She was very much afraid of me not coming back. Unfortunately, I did that even after PhD.
Yeah.
Her fears came true. That unfortunately, I did not return back to India. But I think it's fun. It's fun. Life is something that you cannot always project and dictate and plan. It takes all kinds of ways as we proceed. So I was interviewing with Baba Atomic Research Center, not BAC, no, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, TIFR.
Yeah.
In Bombay, and then next one was in Bangalore, IISc. So I did my interview in Bombay, and I can never forget that TIFR. They had about 13, about 10 or 12 or whatever it is, senior faculty. Most of them are bald-headed. And you go there as a naive, what was that, 21-year-old, person there, and they start asking you questions about the fundamental aspects of physics. And sometimes they say, one of the questions they asked was, what is this light? Is this light polarized? I had no clue. I tried something, but anyway, I felt miserable as I came out of that. And 2 days later was my interview at IISc. So that was from Bombay to Bangalore in those days was tough. I didn't have any, we didn't have, airplanes, definitely not, and they were not accessible for, normal people. So I took a general compartment train ticket, and it took about 1.5 days for me to come to Bangalore in the middle of the night. And our seniors really, helped us to, they took us in. We slept in their dorms. So that's where I at IISc I interviewed in two places, molecular biophysics and organic chemistry. And I got into both of them. IISc has a very nice, procedure for PhDs. And at organic chemistry, I was on the top of the list. So that was the tradition that was set by our previous, seniors. It looks like I also continued that tradition, interestingly. So once you have a choice, I thought, okay, I have a choice, and then I talked to people. By the way, I was supposed to be working with Saraswati Vishweshwara on theoretical chemistry of biomolecules. But then I think the choice to go and work with, when you're the topper of the list, you are given choice to go and choose your own professor. That was very good, and so I thought of, I think I took a decision. I'm not sure whether it was based on anything or not, but everyone said KV was, or is a wonderful professor and all those things. So you listen to your seniors, you listen to your colleagues, and you see. So I decided to take organic chemistry, work with Professor Venkatesan. And later on, it turned out that it was Venkatesan and Ramamurthy what guides I had. That was the beginning of my research career at IISc.
Okay. And today, if you look back at your PhD experience with all this experience that you've had, you're turning your hair white, how would you summarize a PhD program, both as a professional experience as well as a personal journey? Because it's 4 to 5 years of your life that you devote to that program. So, how would you describe it in a few words, as to say? Yeah.
In a few words. Okay, we'll see how many.
No, I mean, you can take as many words as you want.
So the thing is, PhD is a journey. PhD is not another certificate. PhD is not that you memorize something and then write an examination of multiple choices. PhD is not something you can complain all the time that it's not working. Okay, and unfortunately, there is also one thing that we should change, and we are still not able to change, is bad apples as the PhD supervisors. There are really, really bad people out there, unfortunately, and they abuse and misuse PhD students, and that should be changed. But other than that, I think PhD is emancipation. PhD is that you are becoming an adult in doing something. That means maturity. It's not like a defined thing. You are sometimes choosing your own problem, or you're given a problem, and you're taking your own way to approach it, to analyze it, to solve it. And so if any PhD student complains that their work is too tough, I'm sorry, you should go and do something else. If they complain about their mentor being abusive, yes, I do agree. But if they say that my mentor does not provide sufficient guidance, I don't agree. Okay, because it is you who needs to take the lead. It is not spoon feeding. PhD is not spoon feeding. Okay, once you get the PhD, you should be able to live your life, whether you do science or something else, or go hike in Himalayas. You should be able to do it. That's what is PhD. Okay, I think I'm not sure whether the previous generation, but present generation seems to be at least taking it in the wrong sense. They need to understand that it is you who are responsible for it, rather than pushing the responsibility on someone else. Okay. This is even today, I think it is important for everyone to understand. If they have some, psychological issues or other issues, they need to, probably take help from people around us, or mental health advisors. And if they have problems with their mentors, they should immediately change. The first day they understand that there are problems, they should immediately change. Because losing 1 year is nothing compared to losing the whole life. Okay, and that is the seriousness you need to have for PhD. As I said again, I don't accept any mentor abusing or ill-treating the students, but rest of it is the responsibility of the student. Okay, having said this, yeah, 5 years of my life at IISc was outstanding, spectacular, rewarding, exhilarating, eye-opening, whatever you want to. Okay. I went there, in the beginning, I was not able to even run one round in the Gymkhana grounds. My legs used to pain because in India, you never, I did take my, health a little bit seriously, and I used to do some kind of exercise, but that was the first time I ran. And by the end of my PhD career, I ran half a marathon. So that is what is from small steps you change, and there are so many things that happen in those 5 years. We used to play volleyball, and I used to go to almost every department: physics department, MPU, inorganic chemistry, metallurgy, civil engineering, computer sciences, aeronautics, everywhere. We used to have, I used to go and sit with Balram and talk to him.
Yeah.
Just like that. So that was, IISc had that, opening. If you want, you can go and talk to everyone and do something positive to enhance and enrich your life. And another aspect that's very important also for people who, who are, in the PhD times, and India, we don't talk about it openly, is that you're becoming an adult. Physically maturing from an young adult into adult. We go there at the age of 21. I was 21 when I went there, and so you get into the adulthood, and we had a lot of dating, and then so-called love affairs.
You guys had it?
Yeah, and then missed love affairs for a lot of people. We used to take care of them. We used to form a small group. I used to spend days and days working with one of my very dearest friend who was rejected by his girlfriend, and he was totally miserable. I used to go every day walking with him, and later on he became a very big researcher at National Aeronautics Limited, NAL. And unfortunately, he died of some some heart problems very early. And similarly, we used to do that. It is natural that people, they try to form couples or at least date or get infatuated by same sex or opposite sex. That nothing is wrong. This is a taboo that was not there, but we used to really take care of each other at the time, in that aspect as well.
Since you're touching upon these points and you brought up how you feel the current generation might be doing it a little differently or not that correctly, was there something other than handling these personal issues as well? Was there something more in the peer group that you felt is missing in the time today? Have people become really competitive and they don't really want to share the kind of things that they're working on, thinking that they might lose on the ideas that they have, instead of having a more collaborative and more, or building an environment that's sort of nourishing to everyone? Do you think that that's also a thing that's missing these days?
Yeah, I'm not sure how that lab environment is. Lab environment can be, or research environment can be competitive. It depends upon what kind of work you do. If you do field work, you need to collaborate, and if you're working in the lab, you may want to get credit for what you did. But the thing is, outside research, Okay, even in the research, not wanting to share and being possessive about your work is counterproductive. It will never be helpful. But at the same time, you cannot also be a parasite. Okay, there are parasites too. Okay, and yeah, so we have to be careful about that. And parasitic mentality is really ugly, but we cannot help that. There are some people like that. So be proud to be what you are, and then try to work hard rather than trying to have it easy. That's what is the problem. Having it easy is the problem. You can't have it easy. And in fact, the pride in doing tough work is much more rewarding than having it is easy. It will never be good to try to have it easy. So, but the biggest problem I think that people are having is not building a network of friendship. At IISc, at University of Hyderabad, in those years, the friendships that I nurtured and we nurtured are holding strong even today. Okay, build that network of friends. Don't impose yourself on them, but try to help. When you try to help, they try to help. We that's where our cushioning was. That we were helping each other outside the our research and atmosphere, and also research and publishing mediocre papers is not the only thing in life. Again, PhD is something that you go there to learn how to live, not publish a couple of papers and get some postdoc and then done with that. Of course, in those days also a lot of people had that kind of ideas. For example, me and my senior, his name is Pramod. We used to go bicycling every weekend from IISc far away somewhere towards the airport road now, where there used to be a Mother Teresa orphanage for old people. And so we used to go on the weekends, bike there, and shave the men there because the old men, they were not able to shave themselves. So we used to shave them and then bike back. This is something that brought us together, me and my friend.
And it must have been so fulfilling. Yeah.
Huh?
It must have been so fulfilling. I mean,
yeah, it was like it's not like a reward. It is like natural, It's so yeah. There were people who needed it, and then a friend said, "Okay, you want to do it? Okay, go ahead." And we got excellent exercise, biking back and forth, and we saw how these people were taken care of in that Teresa orphanage. So it was nice. So what I mean to say is that life at IISc was to learn how to live rather than to do research only. For me, maybe also that some people think that completely 100% focusing on your work is the only way, but I don't think that that kind of mindset is it is healthy as long as it is not naturally developed obsession. Okay. Otherwise, yeah. So all these things, make you a fulfilled person, not only because it gives you compensation between serious research work for which you need one part of your brain, and emotional and social activity that needs another part of your brain, and also some physical exercise and things like that, and friendship, so community building, social interactions. Yeah, so that was fantastic.
Thank you for sharing all those insightful details. And now that you've come towards the end of your PhD in your life, the most common question that PhD scholars have is at the end of their PhDs whether they should get into the industry or should they go for a postdoc and get into academia. Did you have such a dilemma, and then how did you streamline your thoughts and take a decision and go for your postdoc? So how did you make all those choices?
In those days, there was not much of industry in India. And industrial opportunities were not great. But my thinking then and also now is I'm more academically tuned.
How did you know that, or how do you know that now?
Even at the time, I was, as I told you, it is my, goal of life is, by the way, while doing all these things, I was partially supporting my mom and sisters through whatever I earned. I used to share with them for their education and other things. So livelihood is one thing. So you need to do something that is not destructive to humanity, that gives you also livelihood. So that is first of all important. So if you have opportunities only in one side but not in the other side, I would take those opportunities rather than not doing anything and become a burden to the society. Okay, but given a choice, my inclination was always philosophical, scientific. As I said, trying to understand how we are here, what is it around us, and that was actually, as I was thinking recently, it looks as if unknowingly I'm in the direction. Today, I'm in the direction. I'm able to understand much more about that question I had probably for a long time. May not be completely scientifically explainable, but intuitively understandable is because right now I work in planetary sciences, astrophysics, and look into the universe more, and then project it back to Earth and ourselves. So there are so many questions that are slowly getting clarified. That's nice. So yeah. In those days, yes, definitely going for postdoc was the first thing in our mind. For several reasons. One is, of course, to do research. That was what I have been, interested in, and I was for sure I didn't want to go and do crystallography because. There were so many crystallography faculty researchers at IISc and in India. I said, I want to come back to India. In those days, I said, I want to come back to India and become a faculty professor. And so if I want to become a faculty, if I do crystallography, I'll be N+1 crystallographers in India. So I want to change my field. And so that was very clear to me. And the second thing was that it was also financially important to support the family, for which in those days the exchange rate between dollar and rupee was still significant. That made a lot of difference. Yeah. So that was not the primary, but that was also an incentive. And of course, the even more strengthening that is being adventurous. I wanted to see the world, and of course, my mom said, "No, you don't want to go." And so, seeing different things, see how things are done elsewhere, and learn from them what is good. When I say good, something that enhances the quality of life, what you lead, is also important. If you don't move from your village, you think that is what is the life, and if you don't move from your city, you think that there is nothing better than this. So the more you see, the more you understand that there are life is much more multi-dimensional than single dimensions that we lived in long ago. For example, coming back to it, homosexuality is something that is forbidden in certain parts of the world. And living in California, and understanding the science behind it, we accept, not only accept, but treat people like
celebrate. Yeah.
Not necessarily celebrate. No, we don't need to celebrate anything, but treat them like human beings, just like you and me. And I celebrate. Okay, and so we need to make them feel normal people. Same thing is transgender. In India and other places, still they are totally oppressed. And only recently there are changes coming there. So once you go out, you realize that life is multidimensional. And in fact, one of my PhD students, when I was teaching in Germany, was a gay. And he came and told me, I said, that's fine, absolutely fine. So we worked very closely. So what I mean to say is that you get to break these barriers. You get to break these stereotypes. You get to break your own biases, your own fears, and then see the world. Okay, so that was also the opportunity. So all these things together, it was like a wave pushing me, and then I got an opportunity to do postdoc, and which also changed my life another way, because that's where I met my wife.
Yeah. So all your professional experiences have been highly rewarding personally as well.
Exactly. Yeah.